Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Global Gaming Podcast, where we are going to talk about some things that we really should have talked about a long time ago, probably 30-ish episodes ago. But hey,
Better late than never.
um, yeah. Um, uh, it was more so just going forward and stuff, and like, given the fact that we could get like blow up at any time, this is probably better to do it now than later. So
Yeah. It only takes one video after all.
Um, um, that is, we want to talk about more so going forward from this point forward, what our main goal with this podcast is, and what we're hoping to sort of accomplish.
Yeah. More about who we are, what we're really going to talk about, and who we feel our audience is at this point.
Yeah. Um, uh, yeah, and we haven't really talked about this beforehand, so we might have like contradicting answers. So I'm going to speak for myself, and DolphinVi is going to speak for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Should I start, or do you want to start?
Oh, so we're going to have that talk first and then the topics? Okay.
Oh, well, which do you want to do first?
Well, it's just I have the topics open and tabs in front of me, so I thought we're doing that first.
Okay, we can do that first if you want.
Yeah, and then we can extend the podcast with what we should have done, I guess, 30-ish episodes ago.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. So, what topic do you want to discuss first?
I guess we can start with the big one, which is indie devs, and really the game community is petitioning Sony to quit censoring Japanese games.
Yes. Yes. Now this before we go any forward, how like bad is Sony censoring it? Is it censoring so far? Has it like been like really bad, or is it just like them? Have they actually done anything yet, or are they just planning to do stuff?
They have ordered certain parts of the game to be censored, like the hands-on intimacy mode from Senran Kagura.
Hmm.
I mean, they ordered that to be censored pretty much at the last minute before it was released.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does like it does sound kind of like silly-ish to me that they would do it, especially at this point. Like if it was a couple years ago, I wouldn't be surprised it happened. I wouldn't be any more approving, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised. But like nowadays, especially, it seems like a weird thing to do.
And
Um,
it's
uh,
only going to get worse.
yeah, exactly. I hope it doesn't get worse. I hope Sony wakes up and realizes this is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
But
problem is I don't think enough people are going to protest, so Sony's ultimately going to do more, like they always do.
well, the way I see it is like right now they're testing the safe waters to do it on other stuff, and like we should protest it like we're doing right now and stuff. But eventually,
Mm-hmm.
if they start to do it to something like bigger stuff that like a lot of people really care about. I mean, obviously they're doing it stuff people care about now, but like it's not enough to like really make an impact on them. But if they start doing it to something like even huger, like what's like a really popular Japanese um uh I can't think of one off the tip of my head at the moment. But like, say they start doing it to some other games and stuff, they're gonna get a blowback, and they're gonna probably lose a bunch of fans. So
Yeah.
I don't see this
And
working
those
out well
very
for them.
same fans will ask, well, why has this been censored? Well, I say,
Yeah.
well, why did you not protest when they censored this small thing? That was the first step.
Well,
Mm.
hopefully, this doesn't, this doesn't last long, and Sony will wake up quickly.
When I look at history, I'm not very optimistic about that.
Well,
Because, and this is not just gaming either, as human beings, we are very bad when it comes to learning this lesson about how a little step at a time works.
yeah. But,
Mm.
well, then again, like, hopefully they'll retract it, because Nintendo was once very censorshipy, and they still are to a degree. But like, they're a little bit more open-minded nowadays. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe the opposite will happen to Sony.
I've been very surprised at the way Nintendo has pretty much embraced mature content now.
Except for Wolfenstein 2. Well, apparently they edited out what was it called again?
The swastika symbol.
Right, it's the swastikas.
Yeah, why exactly you'd edit that out of a World War II game, that I don't really know. I mean, I'm guessing if I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, they did it because they just didn't want to deal with all the howling, screeching anti-Nazis here.
Maybe, but was there even like a backlash against that? I don't know. Maybe it was against parents or something.
I don't know. I mean, Nintendo is actually, to their credit, they've gotten a lot better at realizing, oh yeah, most of our fans, they're actually, I guess, older teens or even adults now.
Or like that there's a significant enough of them that are that.
Yeah, or that they've realized their fans are really not kids anymore.
Yeah.
Or if you want
I'm
your
sure
fans to be kids, just do market to older teens because the kids will mimic them.
yeah. Well, that, and I think they realize that like a lot of kids these days are a lot more into edgier shit. Like I mean, like there's or not like into edgier shit. Like I'm sure like sure or pretty certain that there's still a lot of Nintendo fans that are kids and stuff, but a lot of kids are also into other shit like Minecraft or Five Nights at Freddy or like other shit and whatnot, and that and like yeah, they also like to play, and some kids like to play M-rated games.
Yeah. Even though they shouldn't, they do like to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, one of the best ways to make people want to do something is forbid it.
Yeah. Exactly. Um. What else am I thinking? Oh yeah, and but like yeah, that's all I have to say on that front. Is there anything else you have to say to Sony becoming more pro censorship?
Don't do it, Sony. Just don't. It's really not worth it. And get out of
I
California, please.
uh
And this entire policy where Japanese developers have to write all of their requests and complaints in English, that's got to stop.
so if they don't go to California, where should they go?
Well, probably Colorado. Or even Texas. I mean, they're good states.
Right? Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I've been to both of them. They're pretty good states. And yeah, it sounds a bit biased, but I guess Texas is a pretty business-friendly state. So Sony would be welcome there.
That's good to hear.
And Colorado, because it's a very nice place.
Sounds sounds like a good idea. So what else? What's our next topic? Oh yeah. Um there's also this news article I came across recently that claims that apparently Brie Larson is of the upcoming Captain Marvel movie, and apparently a movie called Room, is interested in. Sorry, I heard some static. Is interested in doing a Metroid movie, and that's pretty. Don't know really much to say to that. I don't know much.
I
Haven't
would say
seen
she'd be
really.
perfect for the role.
Yeah, so of
Yeah,
course you would.
I know. I mean, really, the thing about Guy, she's perfectly emotionless, and she plays a character that never speaks. I think she'd be perfect for the role.
Well, how do you know she never speaks and never speaks? How do you know she
Well, in a Metroid
is?
movie, typically Samus is
Oh,
better when
I
she
thought you were.
does not speak. I mean, I'm sure
Oh,
we all remember Metroid Other M.
um,
And
uh,
yeah, I mean, oddly enough, a female character is actually better when she doesn't speak. That was a very awkward one. Well, I guess you
that's
could
gonna
give
be.
Samus Aran a personality, just not that one.
Yeah, if you take that out of context, you do know you sound massively sexist.
Well, I'm sure everyone will
So,
take that out of context.
yeah, everyone always does. What else? Oh yeah, my only problem with it is one, I haven't seen enough of Brie Larson. I haven't seen anything Brie Larson has ever been in, so I don't know if she's a good actress or not.
No, she's not a very tough one, so I don't know if she'd be right for an action hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
To
that
give,
and
yeah, to give context, she's the woman who was terrified for her life when a TSA agent asked for her phone number.
also I think she's been mostly in dramas and whatnot, not many like action
I can
movies or
believe that.
whatnot. All I know is that I've heard like there's a bunch of people on the internet fucking love the movie Room and and jerk off over her performance. So that's all I'm saying. Apparently
Okay.
she was. I don't know, like what else has she been in that's noteworthy?
I don't know. I haven't heard much about her till now.
Well, either way, my other problem, my main problem is the fact that the idea is it's a video game movie, and I don't think there's ever been a good video game movie ever.
Prince of Persia.
Haven't seen it, so I can't comment. Maybe it is a good movie.
I mean, that one's pretty good.
Well, other than that, have there been a good
Oh,
video
yeah.
game movie?
I mean, okay, it's fairly obvious who the bad guy is just on the side of him, but even so, it's a pretty good movie.
Other than that, though, what's a good video game movie?
Does Kingsglaive count?
No, because that's not a good movie. I'm kidding. Maybe.
Okay, maybe it's a tie-in to a game, but I'd say it's a pretty good one. I mean, the performance of everyone is pretty rock solid.
Yeah. Find it interesting, they definitely really went out on the English dub for that movie. They got like Aaron Paul. They got
It was Darren DePaul.
no, not just Aaron. No, I'm talking about Aaron. I'm talking about the guy from Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's his name, right? Let me double check. Aaron Paul. Yeah, Aaron Paul was also in the movie. He played the main guy, right?
Which main guy?
I don't fucking remember his
Nick
name.
Zolric?
Yes, that guy.
Okay, that's who. You think you'd
Oscar-
remember this, Papa G. He shows up in the game.
He shows up as a dead body, and
He's still in the game.
yeah, no offense, he's not like the most memorable character ever. I mean,
Come on, he was memorable enough that Arden made a dead body of him.
oh yeah, he was memorable to Arden. Doesn't mean I'm like, what is his characteristics? He's a nice, cool guy. He likes the kingdom, and like that's it. So, like, what can you tell me about his character?
He's a highly dedicated soldier, really wants to defend the kingdom of Lucis. And he's utterly shocked at the kind of betrayal everyone gets.
Yeah.
Even though he understands why the tree is necessary, he goes along with it.
That is something.
And has enough determination to be accepted by the kings of Lucis, in a sense.
I liked his I liked his buddy better. Whose name I also forget.
Libertus.
But, I think he was the fat guy who got injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that guy better. He goes through. Ironically, he goes through more development in the movie than he does.
Well, he has to. He lives.
Well, yeah, but like he starts out like hating the way things are done and sort of does some terrorist things, and then realizes that was wrong, and it's an arc. It's more than like Aaron. It's more than Nick's go through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm an ass. I'm just being an ass right now, so you guys can ignore me if you want.
It's alright, we all like that about you, Papa G.
What else happened? Oh yeah. I'm trying to think.
Well, we have
But anyway,
so many...
on most video. Oh yeah, I remember my original point. Like most video game movies don't have a very good track record, and I don't think there'll be a really good video game movie until you get like a producer who's like not only or a film director who's not only really passionate about the project but is also really good. Because like I'm sure there's been a lot of video games and movies where there's been someone who's either been passionate for it but sucks, or there's been someone who's been good but isn't passionate about it and stuff. But I think once we get some people in there that are both and stuff, maybe we'll get more of them. But that's probably not gonna happen for at least a couple years.
My loot can happen. It just needs to be executed the right way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
something more like Prince of Persia if you make a video game movie.
Fair
Like, I
enough.
can imagine it'd be difficult to make. I mean, the licensing rights alone would definitely
Like,
cost a bit of money.
I am curious. Why do you like Prince of Persia over 90% of other video game movies?
It has well-developed characters. It has a plot that flows. You actually care about the characters. I mean, the standard reason you'd like any story.
Fair enough. Now let me think.
Yeah, I mean, it's good enough that you can ignore some of the apparent flaws in the movie and some of the logic, and you can enjoy it for what it is.
Fair enough. Trying to think though. What else do you want to move on to the next topic now, or is there anything else you want to continue talking about this?
I mean, what else can we say about Sony censoring things? Well, I guess it goes into more of our next topic, which is the PlayStation Classic.
Right.
Yes,
Apparently...
the Japanese version of it has exclusive RPGs.
Oh,
Screw you, Sony.
I thought you said like it has.
I was wrong.
Okay. I was actually excited to talk about this originally, because originally the DolphinVi told me that some games that were only ever available in Japan are coming to it, but apparently that's exclusive to Japan. So oops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, screw you, Sony.
Maybe they didn't think anyone would care about them. Well, I don't know why they didn't. Well, I don't know. Maybe it would probably be a lot of money and whatnot to get people to translate it and whatnot.
Well, I guess this could go into something I've been curious about, PUBG, and that is how the PlayStation 5 is going to do and the Xbox 2, whatever Microsoft calls it. Which one do you think will win?
I'm just jokingly referring to the next Xbox, the Xbox 2, as well.
Well, okay, but how do you think they're going to do?
How do I think they're gonna do?
Well, at launch.
That's really hard. Well, that's really hard for me to say right now, because I don't know what their offers are gonna be on launch and how they're gonna market it or hype it up. Because depending on how they market it, it could either be the greatest selling thing ever, or it could sell negative 1 billion copies. Versions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Let's say it this way. The PS3 was terrible seller at first, and the Xbox 360 dominated. Then the PS4 was an amazing seller, and the Xbox One just bombed horribly. But now with the direction Sony's going and how Microsoft is doing everything it can to start appealing to gamers again, because it's finally realized, hey, we want a games console to play games, not watch TV and movies.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, what do you think could happen?
Well, before we go forward, I learned something recently, and that is the Xbox One actually broke a record in Japan. It has sold 100,000 versions consoles. 100,000 Xbox Ones have been sold in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But all seriousness.
Clap.
Good job, Microsoft. You hit the big 100.
Mm-hmm.
000.
Yeah, I think this actually could be a pretty good opportunity for Microsoft. I mean, now that Sony is screwing over Japanese developers as well as chasing them over to the Switch, Microsoft could actually have an opportunity to really break through in Japan.
And I really appreciate one thing that Microsoft is doing. It's kind of meaningless to us PC players, I know, but this is important for the console industry, because I feel like it will encourage. I think it'll encourage better practices down the line for the console industry. That is, they've made the Xbox One, and One X by extension, really big in backwards compatibility, which is a big deal to me, because I still think it's ridiculous I can't play a measly PlayStation 1 game on the powerful PlayStation 4 and stuff. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of doing that is a really big deal. And also it seems like like they're really pushing for that, and they're really like it just seems like all around recently they've been a lot more pro consumer and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm not gonna get an Xbox One because I don't need an Xbox One, but like if I were forced to use an Xbox One, it wouldn't be as I don't think it would be as shitty as what it once would be.
Mm-hmm. I
And
mean,
like
I guess I could get an Xbox One S to use the home theater system, but besides, I wouldn't have much of a use
I mean,
for it.
I'm not getting one. Even if I wanted one, I could just always mooch off my sister's boyfriend's one.
Mm-hmm.
We're close enough that he'd allow me to do that. But like my point is I don't want it at all. But if I was forced to do it, I'm sure I could find something.
Yeah, you could.
But the main point I'm trying to say is that like right now it seems like it might be be the Xbox that might dominate next generation if things continue down this line where Sony screws over people on
Yeah.
Xbox. But
I mean, we've
it all
already seen the
depends.
cycle, haven't we?
But this is a big but. It all depends if Microsoft continues doing these sort of things next generation.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
I would think Microsoft has mainly learned its lesson. Focus on gamers, focus on the games, don't focus on TV and movies.
That's true, but
And,
you
and you
never know
should
what
be
these
mostly fine. I mean, with Sony shooting itself in the foot at the moment because it's gotten so
like.
powerful and overconfident, you should be able to get some good traction, Microsoft.
Yeah, you would think that though, but like you never know what these executives are thinking. You know, like like you think the executives would be rational, but sometimes these big
But I
executive
never think
bigwigs are.
executives are rational because human beings are inherently irrational.
Well, yeah, but like it seems like not a lot of the time, like particularly the bigwigs in certain like entertainment industries are particularly stupid at times. Sometimes they're geniuses, but other times they're like really stupid. Like the executive bigwigs thought the initial idea behind the Xbox One, always online, no um uh borrowing games and whatnot was a great idea. They signed
Mm-hmm.
off on that and thought it was a great idea. Kathleen Kennedy signs off on a lot of the ideas involved in Star Wars, whatnot. So
Yeah. And Disney kept her on, which, okay, from a business perspective, I can understand PR-wise why they did that, as terrible as it was.
not just that, it's like Kathleen Kennedy has technically not lost Disney that much money and stuff. Because like primarily she's responsible for the movies and whatnot. And she's not responsible for the toy sales or any of the other stuff. She's
Yeah,
just responsible for movies and stuff. And from that
yeah, but
perspective,
all the toy sales are tied heavily to the movies.
yeah, that's true. But like they're not looking at Kathleen Kennedy for that. They're looking at the executive for the toy sales. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird how Hollywood works and stuff. But like
Yeah.
main thing from Disney's perspective, Kathleen Kennedy has given them 3 out of 4 financially successful movies. So from that end, I can understand why they want to keep her on because they figured, oh, 3 out of 4, that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well, then we just have to wait till episode 9 comes out then.
Yeah. And of course, we talked about Star Wars again.
Well, it always has to come in somewhere,
Yeah.
Look, we're nerds, okay? We admit it. We're proud of it. We have weird hobbies. We talk about them. That's what we do.
Well, but like my point, back to my original point, it's like sometimes like the thing with video game companies or companies in general, sometimes they can easily ruin what they have like that. Like
Mhm.
Sony is doing technically good right at the moment, but like if they continue pushing and pushing and pushing the censorship stuff until it becomes overwhelming, they can lose all that goodwill they've gotten like that, like at a snap of a finger.
Mhm.
I just snapped my finger in real life, but then I realized that no one in the podcast could hear it.
Mhm.
So
Okay, with this. Did you hear that?
yes,
There,
but I'm
I
awful at
snapped for
snapping.
you.
Well, like I'm awful at snapping, and I can only do it very quietly.
Okay.
We can do a snapping tutorial later. Right now, we need to focus on this episode.
An actual video where we do how to snap your fingers tutorial. That would indeed be interesting.
Yes, that would be interesting.
What's interesting is this next topic of Hello Games, the Abyss update for No Man's Sky. Okay.
I can't comment on it because I literally know nothing about it.
Okay, you overhaul exploration and play within the oceans. Okay. So, I mean, that's nice. You can explore the oceans of planets as well.
Okay, well, does that mean you have a submarine now?
An
Or you can...
underwater base, by the looks of it, I guess.
Well, it's
Several
pretty
hours of
cool.
story has been added for an
That
to
sounds
focus
cool.
on underwater exploration. Okay, so good. Hello Games has finally been fixing its stuff in a great deal.
Well, they've been doing that for a while now, to be fair.
Yeah, but now they're really doing it in a big way.
Fair enough. So yeah, that sounds, pretty, cool.
Next, now you get to explore the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, any game with an ocean, I have to ask, why can we not explore the sea?
Well, because the sea is mostly boring. Well, that's not true. The sea isn't mostly boring, and it's most of the time people don't capitalize on it.
Yeah, but I want to explore the sea, though. I don't want it to be full of border control like the Jak and Daxter games. I want to see what's in there.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think there's, what was the game called? There's a game called Subtanica, I think that's all about, exploring the underground, so maybe you'll like that.
Yeah. Well, there's no... even then, there's no land exploration, so it's not all there. But
Fair
I guess is my poor attempt at a segue into the next topic we can go on about. Which is all about Spyro.
Ah.
The Reignited Trilogy, if you buy it on disc, a physical version, you're not going to have all 3 games. You have to download the rest of them.
They originally delayed the game so they could avoid this, and ended up, I guess, accomplishing next to nothing. Because apparently some parts of the other games are on the disc, but you still have to download it. So, I guess nothing was accomplished. Oops.
Yep.
I wonder whose fault it is. I wonder if it's Activision's fault or the game developer's fault. I mean, I guess in a way, either way, Activision is to some degree to blame, but still.
Well, it's Activision, so yeah, it probably is them to blame.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is a really bad thing? Are you neutral about it, or what?
I don't like it, but I'm just not angry with Activision for it. I'm kind of disappointed. Anything else?
I'm both surprised and disappointed because I would have thought like the extra 2 months would have been enough for them to fix this problem, but I guess not.
Yeah, just I'm more angry and disappointed because at this point I'm not surprised. I expect stuff like this from Activision.
Yeah.
But even so, I really hope they would do better than this.
Yeah. Too. Well, to be fair, it's not the worst thing ever to happen, but it's still pretty shitty.
You know, what next? Are smartphone developers just going to abandon the headphone jack altogether? Oh wait, they're already doing that, aren't they?
Also, it really sucks for people with bad internet in like parts of the world and whatnot. So, I guess fuck you if you live in a place with bad internet. And again, how are they hearing about this if they have bad internet?
They'll find a way.
It is true. Will find a way.
If you really want something, you'll figure out how to get it.
Well, then, couldn't you say the same thing for Spyro Trilogy then? If they really want it, they'll find a way.
Yeah, but the Activision could do to make it easier on people.
Yeah. For the record, I was just like me playing devil's advocate. Don't actually mean that.
Yeah. Papa G wants to be a lawyer. That's why he does it a lot.
No, I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a debater.
Well, that's what lawyers do.
Well, yes, but that's not just what lawyers do, and lawyers aren't only people that debate. There's also philosophers and...
Yeah, but lawyers get paid to debate.
Yeah, I want to be a debater as a hobby, not as like a job.
Okay, and what do you want to do professionally?
That I'm still trying to figure out. I have some ideas, but nothing concrete. One idea is to maybe be a teacher and whatnot. Another idea is to I've debated the idea of maybe I could become a journalist, but do it the right way, quote unquote. But knowing me, I'd probably just like end up being poisoned by like the bad journalism and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I'm sure we
On
can
that
help
note,
you find the best way in life.
thank you.
One
On
that does
that
not
note,
involve journalism.
yes. One on that note, should we talk about what else should we talk about? Should we talk about what we should have talked about 30 episodes ago, or
Well, we can discuss Fallout 76 first. I mean, everyone's favorite beating bag at the moment.
yes? Apparently, recently this is like, and the game's not out yet, but like this is during the beta and stuff for people watching in the future, 7 years from now. But like right now, in the beta, um, uh, what's going on in the beta? Oh yeah, apparently someone's file of Fallout 76 just deleted itself for some reason. So that's a new low, even for Bethesda, in considering how bad their glitches can be at times.
Mm-hmm.
And they've warned people that like there's going to be more spectacular bugs to come. And I have to say, on one hand, I appreciate that they're at least being somewhat honest. On the other hand, it's like, why would you? From a business sense, I'm wondering, like, why are you being so open about this? You do know that people are, well, I don't know. I guess they figure, like, they have a fan base I'll buy from them no matter what. Stuff, but I don't know.
Or that's come to be expected that all their games are going to be buggy at this point. But even
Yes,
so,
but it's,
this takes the cake.
yeah.
I mean, having a game that's so buggy it deletes itself.
And even then, like, multiplayer games are more, at
I mean,
least, like,
even for a beta, that's going too far.
yeah, and, like, the game comes out in a month. Well, not even a month. So when does it come out? Let me double check.
Hmm.
Fallout 76 comes out like in like about 11 days.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck fixing that in 11 days.
Well, I guess it's more true of Bethesda. They don't really make games anymore.
But yeah, well,
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
see
be
what we
hard.
do?
Like,
We make the playground, and then we let you build stuff in it.
yeah, but that's gonna be
So,
harder to do
so
when like they've
mods.
already. That's gonna be harder to do when they've come out and said that modding is gonna be very limited in Fallout 76.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently they'll still be modding, but they said it's gonna be much more limited. So I don't know who at Bethesda thought it would be a good idea to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the idea some of this is from scratch Fallout 4 multiplayer plans, but still, this is not a good idea, Bethesda.
Yeah.
Like, say
They've.
what you will, like fix modding and fixing a single player game is much more easier than modding and fixing a multiplayer game, at least
It's
from a
like,
player perspective.
what are you doing, Bethesda? Really?
Either way, I'm sure it'll be a very fun and interesting to see how launch day goes.
Not that well, judging by things.
I know, but it'll probably be entertaining from my perspective, seeing how.
It's like a company known for allowing mods now doesn't want mods. Like,
Well,
why?
no, they want mod. They are
Yeah,
still
but
allowing
limiting it.
mods
Why, Bethesda?
because
Why
it's
would
a
you even let
multiplayer
yourself
game.
get put into this position?
Because it's a multiplayer game.
I mean, do the multiplayer Nazis, do they have like a picture of your CEO selling kids on the black market or something? What do they got on you, Bethesda?
I don't
And
know.
yeah, I know that's gonna be taken out of context. Oh yeah, I know that's.
I don't know. I guess maybe they're idiots. I don't know. hopefully it's a good game. Probably won't be,
It's
but
probably not going to be, no.
probably not. No, but hey, um, uh, at least there'll be some funny glitches. Hopefully, I don't know.
No, I doubt it.
Uh,
I would say Bethesda should really take their own the song's advice. Go home to the place you belong, Bethesda. Follow the country road back to single player games that allow modding. Just go back there.
Either way, I guess all I can say at this point is if you want to experience a Fallout game on November 14th, you could try Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout New Vegas, or I guess even Fallout 3 and stuff.
Yeah, Fallout 3 is still pretty good. Fallout New Vegas as well. Why not?
I personally think New Vegas is better, but that's just my personal opinion.
Which is fine. And
Um,
and even worse, it'll have microtransactions. Fallout 76, but it's not pay to win.
Apparently they're
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
I don't know, it's funny. Ever since Fallout 76 was first announced, it's been nothing but bad news after bad news after bad news. I think, so, like, to steal a quote from Red Letter Media, how does it feel, like, I guess you should be asking this, because I'm more of a Fallout fan, but, like, in general, like, how does it feel to have lived long enough to see most of your favorite franchises go to shit?
Terrible.
For me, I'm just like, if something goes bad, then I'll abandon it and find something new. I have no loyalty to you beyond what is already good, you know?
I'll probably have to do that with Sony now, even though they own the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Well,
So,
I guess
Sony
for the
doesn't
most
own
part, they own the rights to it. Though thankfully, I
well,
think
maybe,
they're going to Nintendo as well.
yeah, I've heard rumors it might come to PC as well.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, so like, I don't think Sony owns it. I think they just have some sort of deal with some. However, I don't know for certain, so I probably shouldn't talk out of my ass.
They don't.
Anyway, what else is going on?
And also, I think we've put this up long enough. Now, we talked about the topics. We can talk about where we're going with this.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you want to start or should I start?
Might first we talk about who we are, what our real values are.
Yeah, I get. Okay, do you want me to start?
Sure, go on.
So yeah, I am. So this is very late, just over 30 episodes in, but I might as well say it. I am Papa G, and I am an average, no one special. I'm an average nobody, and like I'm mostly just a nice guy who really loves to talk about video games, anime, and pretty much like everything that's related to art. I really love like pretty much anything as long as it's like you can come up to me and recommend me like pretty much like anything in any medium, and like there's a good chance I'll give it a shot. I'm very open-minded, and I was the one who sort of suggested this podcast at DolphinVi, and my main reason was sort of because like I feel like this is a fun way to really not only get my thoughts out, but also to like casually talk with not only DolphinVi but like other guests on the podcast. So do you want to go now, DolphinVi, or should I say anything else? Is there anything else I missed?
Well, I disagree with the fact that you are average.
Aw, thank you. I'm
And
below
that
average.
you're not creative. You said so yourself. You came up with this.
Yeah.
This podcast
Well, I
would
mean,
not exist without you. So what else? There
Aw.
has to be more. What else is there?
Oh, what else is there? I guess like part of the reason I wanted to start this podcast is because like I've always wanted to do something with YouTube, but I've always been a bit too much of a pussy to create my own stuff. So I figured, hey, maybe if I have DolphinVi and I mooch off of him, maybe that could be something. But then the podcast switched to my channel, so I guess technically I'm making it now. But what else is there? Do I want to say about me? I really love one thing. I really love is I love hearing different perspectives about anything and stuff, and like that's one thing I like to seek out most in life is different perspectives about anything. And you can probably come at me with almost any perspective, and I can promise you I'll at least hear you out. I can't promise I'll like it or even agree with it, but I will at the very least hear you out and like really listen to it attentively. And one more thing to close out. Um, uh, oh, like for well, yeah, I guess that's the main thing. What else? Like, oh yeah, there is one more thing, or at least a few more things. For this podcast, like I kind of wanted to make it to start sort of just talk about mainly video games, but also like maybe a few other topics here and there. The main goal is video games and stuff, and even though it seems like a lot of times I ramble or go off topic, the main goal is to sort of make something that's entertaining and sort of relatable for that people can listen to years down the line. Like a lot of people will sometimes people will watch let's plays to like vicariously experience something with someone or to like just like listen to funny people and or their personalities or whatnot. And like this podcast, like I'm me on this podcast, I'm not like a very objective person on the podcast. Like sometimes I can be objective, but my main goal is to more of like sort of put myself out there as well as other people out there and to just sort of be like, this is who we are and we just want to have fun and talk and whatnot. And right now our audience I think is like mostly made up of 5 people from our Discord server, but hopefully it expands to more people who like video games or anime or just want to like hang out and chill and do the shit about stuff. And yeah, that's my perspective. So what's your perspective, DolphinVi?
What I want to know first, who do you think our main audience member is?
Our main audience members,
Well, yeah, when you think about a person that watches us, who do you envision? I mean, what age
who
range do they have? What do they value?
I guess someone who's like my idea is someone who's like a teenager to someone like in their mid 20s to maybe early 30s and stuff. Someone who's like is really into maybe nerdy stuff or just like art in general, primarily like of the video game or like variety or like movies and whatnot. But it's like I'm open to like talking to book people in the future if we ever get book people, but I don't know any book people. um, uh,
That would be fine by me.
I guess my main idea is to right now just mostly focus on. I guess my idea is like the average person would be someone who's maybe like a bit socially awkward or a bit nervous, but someone with a lot to say about video games or whatnot, and like wants their voice to be heard, even if it's only with a couple people. At least that's sort of the person I am and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me and stuff, like I'm not against becoming big and stuff and having this be like a huge thing, but like for me, like I'm alright whether it's big or small because like my main thing with doing this podcast is mostly that it's a passion project, at least to me, and that this is more so something I want to do fun, and for that the idea that even if it's just some one guy or 2 or 3 people like out there in the middle of nowhere that hear me and stuff, just the fact that 2 or 3 people heard me is like very cool and very humbling.
Mm.
And so I guess the idea, so I guess like I sort of went off topic, but like the person I envision watch this podcast is someone who appreciates people who are willing to put their voice out there, even though they're not like super experienced or maybe as skilled at YouTube making as some of the bigger channels are.
Okay.
I know that was like I know I sort of got lost a bit in there. I'm sorry about that, but that's our podcast in a nutshell.
Well, that's what we wanted.
So what about you? Who are you? What do you value? And like, what do you see our podcast going in the future?
Well, I'm DolphinVi, as you can probably see there. And well, the reason I originally started YouTube, it was because I had even to an extent I still do, I have a terrifying fear of public speaking. So my idea with YouTube is, hey, if I make something that can be seen by anyone all over the world, potentially tens of thousands of people, that can help me get over it. And to an extent it did. I mean, if you listen to me now in comparison to my very first video, I mean, God, I'm a wreck in that video. I'm embarrassed by it. I'm guessing that's the point of your first YouTube video. If you can't watch it without feeling physically ill, that's a sign you've been doing YouTube long enough to really get into the trend of it. But even that, the reason I do content that I did is I try to be a very objective person, but even despite being such an objective person, I do care a lot about art. It sounds kind of awkward. I'd like those two things, but it's just who I am. I'm an awkward person. So I started to notice a lot of censorship was going in art. So there's a lot of people that were objecting to certain topics being represented. I really don't like that, so it's one of the reasons I actually agreed to this podcast and why we tend to bring up art a lot and why I'm so against censorship. And so I guess that is one of the things I do like. It's being able to get people from all over the world with their different views and censorship in here. So I can really try to convince them that censorship is not good. It's not a thing that should be embraced, even if it's against something that you really don't like.
Yes,
where do I see us going? I do hope we become big, but even if it's a small passion project, okay, I can go with that. I mean, my main goal originally was not to become a big person on YouTube. It was mainly to become an entrepreneur. YouTube was a side thing, but if we could make a business through a good, profitable YouTube channel, I'd be all for that.
Me too.
The main concern is if we become big, how do we make sure we maintain creative control? Rather than turn into the next Smosh, that became a soulless corporate entity, and I really don't want that.
So, one thing I wanted to add is a part of the reason I approached this podcast is that I always got a sense of you have a lot of ideas or whatnot and a lot of things to say, but like sometimes they may not fit in your typical video format. So this is sort of like a perfect like outlet for both you and me to sort of get ideas out there in sort of more casual sort of way. And even though like we make like we do a lot of videos on current news or whatnot, ultimately I hope like at least our podcast to some degree are something that you can watch years later, at least get like a laugh out of or a kick out of for like our creative commentary or things that we say and whatnot.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to say one other thing. Like in terms of when I said I'm a subjective person, I mean like a lot of times I talk about like art, I say like what it means to me or whatnot, and less of what it objectively does well. I can talk about objective things and stuff about art, not only art but also like life in general and stuff. I'm just like not as skilled as that as DolphinVi.
Mm-hmm.
But like I am getting better at it as I think I get older and as I become more experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Let me think. Are there any? I don't mean to steal your thunder.
Well, no. I mean,
like
it's
that.
important that we talk. I mean, to sum it up, we want to hear all views we can. We really enjoy talking about art. We have different views and objectivity, but I think we can both agree that censorship is terrible and that our podcast is greatly against it.
And
even when it is censoring stuff that we personally don't like, we don't believe it should be censored.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want, for example, I don't want Anita Sarkeesian to be censored or not allowed to say what she.
Yeah. I mean, as in a sense, guiltily happy as I would be if she finally got what was coming to her, I wouldn't want her to be censored.
So,
in the same way I wouldn't want even Gazi Kadzo to be censored. as much as I hate the bastard, I wouldn't want him censored.
So, and like, who do you think like is the average person? Like, who do you picture when you think of an average person who would like watch this podcast? Since you asked me earlier. I'm sorry, I just felt like humming some music. Did not want to answer that question. Do you want to save it for later? Hello?
Nope. Sorry, I accidentally muted my mic there. I didn't mean to.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So here it is. I imagine they're from 18 to 30 years old. That's the age range I'm giving them. They do enjoy video games and other forms of art, possibly even literature. And obviously they have their preferences, but they're concerned about some of the censorship that's going on. They're concerned about moral authoritarians in their country and others. They're starting to spread this idea that it's okay to censor some content. And they can see, well, that's only going to lead to more censorship down the road.
Yeah.
And they think it should be talked about, but every time they try to have a conversation, they're shouted down.
And I'm also there. One thing I also think they might value is that maybe the idea of having debates about things, like being open about like not being afraid to disagree with others around you, even if you do like them or agree with them mostly. Because we've had times where we've like disagreed on things, and debated about it.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose one last thing is they realize the importance of other people they work with.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So,
And the
on
one
that,
podcast where Microsoft conspired with the globalists to shut us down by doing a Windows update on Papa G. I mean,
yes.
the point where he was gone, it was awkward silences with occasional talking.
Yeah. That was the most awkward thing that happened ever.
Yes, as we all know, Microsoft is staffed by gay frogs that work with the globalists.
Oh,
Yes, and our podcast terrifies them for some reason.
yes. Maybe it was not Microsoft. Maybe it was the New World Order or something. Or maybe it was the Templars.
Yeah. Maybe we
Or
should eventually switch to Linux then.
Maybe Assassin's Creed is really an autobiography story, and like they're trying to get the message out there and stuff. They're trying to convince people that it's real, and we're all missing the point by thinking it's all fiction.
That is a new thing. We're against the decay that we're starting to see in quite a lot of good storytelling in games. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah.
Yes. So to put that way, our values and who exactly we really market to. Let's see, love gaming.
I think I primarily
love all kinds of art. We're very wary of censorship.
And we're open to, and like we're always open to having more people on, whoever wants to. Speaking of which, I still need to
we want to have discussion and debates.
Speaking of which, I should probably send a message to that YouTuber you okayed with me.
Yeah, if you would.
For those of you who are confused, a few weeks ago I sent off the YouTuber or two that I think might be interested to have on the podcast. I haven't asked them yet just because I've been really nervous, but I'm finally doing it this week because I've worked up the courage.
And they want to really be able to talk about difficult issues without being shouted down.
And you may be wondering, like, oh, how was I able to talk to DolphinVi then? And like, DolphinVi was different. I had been talking with him online for over a year at that, so I had more than enough time to build up courage. And I had and even before I officially asked you about the podcast, I'd always played with the idea of maybe one day starting a YouTube channel and maybe working with you or whatnot.
Yeah, even back then you were asking me about difficult topics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pointed out a review of The Last Jedi that was not kind, and he disagreed.
And I agree mostly with it nowadays. Because I'm wrong and I'm stupid and you should probably not listen to me most of the time. But every once in a while I think I'm smart and you should listen to me. Like for example, I'm a very I don't want to say centrist, but I'm a very a dirty neutralist a lot of the time. Where a lot of times I won't take a side or two. I'll be like, I'm somewhere in the middle or whatnot. And it's a very controversial position to take, but I think it's the wisest position. I wish more people would take it.
All right.
So on that note, should we end it here for the day?
No, maybe we can talk a bit more. Okay,
Okay.
so we've got our values. Let's be more clear on our topics again. So it's not just gaming; it's all kinds of art as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking notes here. That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
So
Like
of art,
I know.
we're definitely against all kinds of censorship.
Yeah.
And
Mostly talk
declining
about
video game stories. Do we agree there?
say again.
Declining game stories. Do we agree there?
Some degree. I agree, but I say to some degree because it's like I don't know if it's a new thing that there's like some declining things. I think just natural for some franchise. Like eventually they go on long enough and they'll eventually start to decay at one point, unless they really shake up the formula and whatnot. Like I love the Yakuza series, but it could go to shit at one point. But I think it's avoiding that pretty well because it seems to mostly do a good job at shaking up the formula at the right points and whatnot. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yep. So we have that. We have all kinds of debate.
Yeah.
Yep. Although I have to make a rule now: we are never having an objective versus subjective debate ever again.
Why are you so against that concept though?
Last time we did that, you had me defending Hitler as being objectively good for the world.
Well, that's your fault. You're the one who brought up Hitler. Wait, no, I think it was me who brought up Hitler. Shit, it was me. Oops. Never mind.
Look, I'm willing to debate you about anything, even uncomfortable topics, but even then, there are some places where we should slow down, steady on.
Yeah. And mostly, I like to talk about video games on this podcast because I think that's what our few viewers, a few people, our fans, you can call them that, are mostly interested in. But like, I'm more than open to branching out to other topics like anime or other shit,
Yeah, anime or art in general, that could be good.
Yeah.
So not just game, but art.
Yeah. I'm more than willing and even open to that.
Where they're going, the stories they have, if there's any censorship going on or being attempted.
Yeah.
We talked about that before. I mean, we're kind of weary about any censorship, even if it's small or against things people normally don't like. It's never a good thing. It never stops there.
Yeah. Like, I'm obviously more weary about major censorships and whatnot, but like, no matter what, I'm always worried about or wary about censorship. But like, there's certain small censorships that where it's like there's certain cases and certain censorships where I'm like, okay, I don't like this, but I understand why it was done and stuff. Like, for example, I think in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they changed some characters' names and stuff because due to I think culture differences and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, I don't really agree with that, but like I understand and whatnot. Do you agree with that or
Well, for changing a name because in some other country it means something else. Can we really call that censorship, or can we just call that marketing choice?
I guess it's more of a marketing choice.
Where does the line get drawn? That's an interesting debate to have for another time.
Yeah, that might be a really good, interesting debate. Because I don't know if I'd call it even a marketing thing. I guess you could call it almost pandering to like the Western market. I guess you could say, But like that's sort of like a harsh way
I
of
mean,
putting it.
it could just be a marketing thing depending on where you are. I mean,
Yeah.
McDonald's menu, it's not the same all over the world.
Yeah. And like
I mean, if you go to a McDonald's in Italy, it's very different. The
I guess
coffee
like
actually
one
tastes
thing.
good.
Yeah, that might be an interesting topic to talk about in the future because it's like I know like there's some like for example to bring up the anime topic like there's some anime that are like meant more for like kids or children and like is it and like there's a debate to be made, is it okay to like tone or is it censorship to tone down some of the violence or some of the other questionable things that aren't as accepted in American or like Western values, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about that now or do you want to save that like for a future episode?
I think we
Probably
could probably
best.
do that next week, actually.
Yeah, that might be a
On
good
when
idea.
is or is it not censorship
Yeah.
debate. Okay, where do we draw the line between censorship and marketing?
Yeah. I think that would be a really interesting topic to discuss because like because it's like definitely an ongoing debate there. It's not just in like anime and whatnot, it's also in a lot of video games and
Yeah.
stuff in general.
Let's say in art specifically.
So yeah, for right now this will be the end of the episode. I hope you guys
Yeah.
enjoyed it and
Yeah, 'cause
we'll
we
try
certainly
to get
did.
what did you say?
Yeah, 'cause I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
I mean,
I love
I finally
talking
think
about
that we have some more clarity and a more concrete sense of vision now.
Yeah, I think we do
Yeah.
too.
And I think we got
Um,
to know
uh,
each other a lot better as well, more than the other
yeah,
podcasts.
yeah, I think we definitely did, and um, uh, yeah, I think that's all I had to say at least for this episode. I look forward to future episodes, and we will try to get some other people on for future episodes, but they've been busy and life is a thing. Like the other people like Inquisitor and
Lethality.
lethality and whatnot to have lives outside of the podcast, so it's understandable why we can't always get them.
Mm-hmm.
But even without them, I like to think like it's pretty good. We do a pretty good job, especially this episode. And anyway, I'll stop stalling and I'll just say have a wonderful night, everyone, and peace.
Good night.